Hey, hello there guys, it's Metro, and today we are going to discuss the Brewmaster changes that came this weekend, specifically the 100 talents. Got a few images that I'm going to show you here since the beta realms were pretty unstable when I tried to record this, but basically they buffed the class. Right now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the situation the class was in previously. They felt weak in terms of mitigation because they have no real reduction. All right, their active mitigation was very situational, and it still certainly is. All right, it's not actually changed. The discussion that we're having today does not involve any changes to the core kit. But these 100 talents now, that when they changed them, the first thing that this said to me was, it's like overcompensation, basically, like an apologetic mindset. Here, just take everything, guys. We're so sorry. We're so sorry that they're weak. Just take this. Just take damage. Just take this. Take haste. Like all these weird patchwork changes instead of just actually changing the kit, which I think is what most people want. Like instead of everybody wants guard back. It's not coming back. Instead of doing that, instead of like actually altering the kit in some way, they gave these weird buffs to all these 100 talents. So we're going to talk about them each. First one is Elusive Dance. Okay, as you see there, it says it also grants up to 15% dodge and damage done for 6 seconds. So the damage done part is new. Okay, and then Purifying Brew now clears an additional 15% delay with stagger. So that can get all the way up to 65% now. And then of course the dodge, that was normal, and then the damage as well. So they're like, here, just take damage. It's like, what? It's really bizarre if you ask me. I don't fully understand the purpose behind it, but the damage component is actually really good. So I like this one. This is my favorite one. This is why we're starting with this one. Out of the three, this one seems like the best for dungeons. The other two seem very good. We'll talk about those as well. But getting the damage bonus is really awesome. Like, it's really nice. Having like a pressable 5% to 10% damage bonus, and then even up to 15. So how it works is, I'm not exactly sure the threshold numbers, but if you clear one stagger, you get 5%. That's the lowest you can get. So 5% dodge, you know, I mean, on the pole, that's nothing to sneeze at, especially if you have light brewing like I do. You just 4 stacks of these, and you're going to constantly get them back because you're going to be keg smashing on the pole, you know. So there's literally no reason not to use this on the pole. Get a little extra damage and a little dodge as well. Purifying is irrelevant at the start of the fight anyway, so. Now we're on to Blackout Combo. Now this one just changed entirely. The talent used to give butts, but now it gives Blackout Strike and Improvement. Every time you use it, one of your other abilities do something greater. So let's talk about that. Tiger Palm, damage increased by 200%. I mean, that's alright. The damage Tiger Palm does is not very high anyway. Breath of Fire, cooldown reduced by 6 seconds. That one's pretty good for AoE, that's for sure. Keg Smash reduces the remaining cooldown on your brews by 2 additional seconds. That one seems good. We'll talk about the synergy there. Then you have Iron Skin Brew. These are the active mitigations. Grants you a stack of Elusive Brawler. If you don't know what Elusive Brawler is, it's your mastery. Every time you take a hit, you have a chance then to dodge a hit. So that could be useful, I guess. That one's probably like the most defensive. And then Purifying Brew pauses stagger damage for 3 seconds. So it's like, I don't know. That one seems really stupid to me, but. And this one here seems really good. This seems like a very active, like what they want you to do as a monk. I think it could be good in all situations. Like, I should probably try it in dungeons because the Breath of Fire 6-second CD reduction obviously is going to be very nice for AoE. And there's also some synergy with the artifact traits. When you use Breath of Fire, you like breathe extra time, so that would be very high damaging boost. And then of course the when you do breath onto them, they deal less damage to you. I think it's like 4% or something like that. So it could be good to kind of like stack that up. But I don't know. This one seems like the right choice. Like, it's what the class is meant to play like. It's more active. It's got a very, you know, you have to track it. You have to know. Blackout strikes up pretty often, right? Like whatever, 8 seconds, 6 seconds. I don't know, but you have to use it often. It's very good to use often. It does a lot of damage as well. So I guess it could be something that once you get used to, you'll probably never switch from. And then High Tolerance, a very, very interesting one here. This one seems like now the go-to one for raids. People are already complaining about basically getting hit way too hard as a monk, and no way to reduce it. So stagger delaying an additional 10% is obviously very good. It's probably the best thing that you can do in that situation where you're getting hit harder, because then you can, hopefully clear it quicker. But so that plus Iron Skin Brew is going to be like you're staggering a lot of damage, like a lot. And then the more you stagger, the more haste you have, which, this doesn't sound like a great idea, but the more haste you have, the more you can rebuild your active mitigation. So this synergizes actually really well with the other change that we're going to talk about here today. Because the more haste you have, the more you can keg smash, guys, which obviously does an insane amount of damage. So if you're constantly at like middle stagger, because that's how hard you're getting hit, which I think is going to be pretty prevalent in raids, then you're pretty much constantly getting 15% haste. I mean, that's crazy. That's like up there with Bloodlust. Like if you had this at the maximum and Bloodlust, keg smash would probably be like a 3-second CD, because it does go down with haste, guys. So I think this is going to be the raid one. I really do. I've not tested it in anything, honestly, so I don't know. But I wonder now, is like one stagger 5% haste as well, like it is with the first talent? If that's the case, then it's pretty good baseline, and it's probably good in dungeons too, because, especially like Mythic Plus, I think this will probably come into play in things that aren't just raids, anything that you get hit hard in. So in Mythic Plus, you're starting to get hit harder and harder as you go up. Then it's time to switch to high tolerance, because when you get that medium stagger, it's also a DPS increase, which is very useful for dungeons, obviously. So those are the 100 talents. I like them a lot, honestly. I really, like I said, even though it feels like a very apologetic stance, like, guys, here, take all these weird changes to these 100 talents since you guys said the class was odd, So it just doesn't seem to fix the problems that they have, though. So I'm still going to go ahead and say that they're weak compared to every other tank. Every other tank just has a better reduction. That's just a fact, okay? They have way better reductions. But these changes help them feel really sturdy. They feel really like, I take damage. When I take the same damage on my Demon Hunter, I've done a lot of comparison testing. The Demon Hunter does the same pull as the Monk, and the Demon Hunter gets hit much harder. The difference is he has a very, very good active mitigation and a very, very, very good self-heal. All right, the Monk doesn't have that. All right, his self-heal is a little bit limited, and his active mitigation is really not cut out for high volume damage. So let's talk about, now there's been some other changes too. And then, of course, the final change here is the change to, as you see, Fortifying Brew, and then indirectly Keg Smash and Tiger Palm. So essentially what they did here was they made Fortifying Brew a 7-minute CD, up from 5 minutes, which at face value seems absolutely fucking horrible. But then they made Keg Smash and Tiger Palm not only reduce the Iron Skin Brew cooldown and the other, Purifying Brew, but now also Fortifying Brew as well. So this is probably the best change they could have done. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. And I think this is going to actually end up being overpowered at the end, because I just did some quick math, right? I think it's like 420 seconds, 7-minute CD, right? So if you use Keg Smash every 7 seconds, which is what I have it down to haste on the beta, guys. I'm not even that geared. I don't even have like, I have some haste enchants and stuff, but like 7 seconds seems like where it'll be at for early raids. If you just use that every 7 seconds, that half the CD would be reduced over the duration of the 7 minutes. So obviously it's going to tick itself too. Like during those 7 minutes, the duration is going to be ticking. So effectively, if you only use Keg Smash every 7 seconds, it's about a 4-minute CD. Okay, and then obviously you're going to be Tiger Palming as well. So that should cut it down, even greater, maybe down to like 3.5 minutes CD, if not lower. And then that's just at this level of haste. Okay, so the concern obviously that is present here is that, when you have a Keg Smash down to say like a 5-second CD with Lust, you're getting value there. And then say maybe subsequent tiers when it's 5 second already because of how much haste you have, and then you Lust as well, and maybe with high tolerance too. Like, it's just insane, guys. It really is insane. It can turn Fortifying Brew into like a 2-minute CD, which would be awesome, and that would change all the issues honestly. So this just solidifies how good haste is for this class. And then you know the synergy is unfounded, really. High tolerance goes really good with it, and then blackout combo goes even better with it. So it makes elusive dance look bad in that comparison, because blackout combo allows you to cut even more time off the CD on Fortifying Brew when you use Keg Smash, right? You remember that. So yeah, it's just a really interesting change, and I think they're onto something here. This feels fun. I think this is actually like gonna be a cool play style for them. So if you were to ask me right now, a few people have said so, well, how do I feel about tanks going forward? I still feel like Brewmasters are the worst tank, because they just don't have anything for constant melees. They have no, like, the self-heal is alright, but they're flimsy in that regard. And then their active mitigation, it's basically ideal for, like, a snapping bite from Tordos. You guys remember that mechanic? It was just, like, the boss melee'd very slow, and then every once in a while he would do this, like, it was like a castable, it was just like a bite, basically, a large damaging melee swing. And, you know, bears were awesome for it, because they literally could just dodge that melee swing. So that would be a great one for the explosive keg. Or you can just use Iron Skin Brew, and you would reduce like 50% of it. And then you would just immediately purify that. So that would be like the best reduction in the game for that. But just the constant melees that you're taking while you're waiting for that is building up stagger. So you have to constantly purify as well. And it gets really overwhelming really fast. But I think they're onto something. I really like the concept. I like the playstyle. I love them in 5-mans. I really hope they're good enough to be my main alt. I was kind of pigeonholed this expansion, and I hope now that with proper balancing, we can see them be the class that they're meant to be. So thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions about Brewmaster, let me know.